Quite a while ago, the way I lived my life made me realize something. And ever since, I've been terrified by this question. Why is it that we tend to support celebrities way more than our close friends? It's scary, or at least it scares me personally. However, I think that if any of us were ever to finally find the answer to this confusing question, we could be on our way to a kinder and more united society. And in this case, by society, I don't mean the world, but rather our own little circles of people we surround ourselves with. So essentially, this is what I've kind of come across in my thinking process. The first thing I want to touch on is the nature of friends. And this part of it is really objective. This is not about people in my life or in your life. This is just nature of a concept, right? The nature of friendships. Friends are equals, right? That's how we psychologically see ourselves, more or less. And the thing is that equals kind of implies rivals in one way or another. Again, I don't mean that we always compete with our friends, but to an extent, psychologically, in the fact that we are equal to our friends, we kind of subconsciously feel a sense of competition. And that competition is not there with celebrities. And speaking of celebrities, on the other hand, we have this illusion of familiarity and imagined closeness to these people we see online. And from the content that they put out and all the thousands of interviews that they do, we almost feel like we know them. And this illusion is so powerful that we often even go so far as to feel like we know them better than some of our friends. And on top of that, there's also the fact that there's no pressure in maintaining that relationship because essentially it is one, imagined, and two, completely one-sided. And I guess because we don't feel any sort of competition towards our idols and there's no pressure in maintaining a relationship, we kind of just let ourselves express all the emotions we feel towards them. It's incredible how hard it is for people to be nice and supportive towards their friends, but at the same time how easy it is for any one of us to go on Instagram and comment under a celebrity's post about just how much they changed our lives and just how much they inspire us every single day. I'm not saying that celebrities don't do that, and I'm not saying that celebrities don't bring into our lives as much as friends do, because I guess that's very subjective and I can't speak on behalf of everyone in that. But I do think that there is something weird about us being way more open and appreciative towards people we don't know at all. Similarly to what I just said, I don't feel like I should decide whether this kind of difference between celebrities and friends is a good thing or a bad thing, because my opinion doesn't matter, and it's essentially your interpretation of how this affects your life that should. So perhaps you don't have a problem with it, and that's okay. But I do want to say that it doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, objectively, but I shouldn't say objectively because it is very much subjective still. Aren't we better off empowering our friends? Because when we think of it, the celebrities you support are also supported by millions of other people, whereas your friends probably don't have as many friends. And when I think of that, another thing comes up. Because we've gotten so used to being so nice to celebrities, I don't even know myself how we can somehow do the same to our friends. It doesn't make sense in the way that society works these days to wake up and tell all your friends just how much they mean to you, because most people would genuinely be weirded out by that. I mean, it's out of nowhere and we're so not used to it that it comes across as if it has other intentions. If someone were to suddenly express their appreciation, before you can genuinely hear them out, you start to think, oh, are they okay? Or do they want something? Or, you know, all these things that it kind of becomes sad. Although that shouldn't be a reason for us to somehow not do that to our friends, you know? And I think that these social constructs that are kind of built based on our experiences and how we live now can be used as a sort of guidance. So we should definitely recognize these habits that we kind of have and once in a while just try to go completely against the current. What I mean is that we kind of tend to be way more critical and less passionate about our friends' lives. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why we ourselves feel lonely. A lot of people have said that we're kind of in a loneliness pandemic, and I do think that's true. And I don't necessarily mean the pandemic that is going on right now, because the lockdown has definitely impacted loneliness, but that's not where it started. Loneliness has always been there, and so I don't necessarily mean that metaphor directly linking to lockdowns or any of that. I don't know, this is still kind of one of the questions that I'm confused about, because it's not one of the easy constructs to kind of overcome or go against, just because it involves other people, I guess. But I think it's important to think whether or not this is present in your life. And from there, the safest thing we can do, but also the most crucial thing we can do, is just to try to see the amazingness of the people that you actually have in your life. People who aren't celebrities, people who are normal, people who are like us. I think that could add color to a lot of our lives. And it's very idealistic, but I think to extent it's even necessary. There's no conclusion in this one because it's complicated, but it's a thought to ponder, and at least for me, I'm definitely going to try to be more aware of it. And I think simply by being aware, we could learn to slowly become more grateful for the people that are there. Perhaps this is something that you think might be needed in your life. And if it is, go for it. Honestly, we have a certain personal duty to make the people in our lives feel loved. But if you feel like you're okay with this whole thing, I think that's also okay, because there isn't any lesson that anyone can teach you. And essentially, it's all about being aware, being conscious of all the patterns that we take on in our lives. So know what's going on, know what you're doing, and know that you could always change your life at any given moment. So change it for the better, whichever better is best from your perspective. But do think about these things, because that's essentially one of the most important parts about being a growing individual in today's society. And I hope you guide your life towards whatever you want it to be. Good luck.